Today we're going to do the video you've been waiting for. It's technically the finale in the series. It's going to be my top picks of obviously the Godforge legendaries in the Alpha Wave 1 experience. And the one thing I will tell you compared to all of the other videos, this one may be a little bit longer. Only because I did actually get a chance to play, as you can tell, with all of these heroes. I made sure I made 50 level heroes, and even with the others, I made them level 40 to test them out in stuff like the Golden Golem at stage 120, and even they actually did some good performance actually at stage 150 as well. So I'm going to give you guys my impressions on all of the legendary heroes, which ones are game breaking, which ones honestly will make a massive difference on your account, and ones that might be a little bit misunderstood and should not be just thrown out in the trash because some people just don't understand how they work, right? I'm going to be real, right? So, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive into today's video, and I am going to talk about my boy Shamash, and we might just work across, so if you want to just follow along, you can. We're going to go probably Isis, Afro, and vice versa. But Shamash, oh boy, Shamash, I would say, if you unlock this hero on your account, first legendary, be happy, because he's arguably, in my books, the top 3, maybe number 1 or number 2 legendary hero in this entire alpha, because he just provides something that none of the real others provide at such good value. It's kind of bonkers. So what we're talking about here is his ultimate and his passive attached to that ultimate, right? This is a offensive support, before you guys wonder, and what we mean by that is when we read his ultimate ability, you have the ability to revive a random ally with 30% of their HP and 30% turn meter, then place a Radiance 2 and attack up to on for 2 turns on all allies, but you heal all allies, and if they have already got maximum HP, you don't lose value because you place 100% of that overhealing as a barrier. Like, yes, it's just that good of a skill. And what makes this skill even better, as you can read from the bottom line of text, the first time an ally is killed in battle, you just gain full divinity and you do this. So what this basically means is, if you've got a damage dealer or any other really critical hero in your team and they die first, no matter what, Shamash is going to heal your entire team, give them a barrier, give them Radiance 2, give them attack up 2, and revive that one unit who's just died instantly, even out of his own turn. And that does allow you to do some really cool combos and obviously to survive and kill the waves. This hero honestly carried me so goddamn far, it's unreal. On top of that, to finish the offense part of the support, which is obviously the ultimate, which we've seen, he has 2 amazing abilities here. His basic ability allows you to attack an enemy and any of your allies with the lowest divinity, so it'll pick the lowest one, so any of them that's not under obviously the like a debuff and stuff, because if they're under a debuff this won't trigger. But if you've got like a Gilgamesh, you know, a Dracula, an Anubis, any of the guys above us, right? If they're on 0 divinity, for example, they're going to join in the attack with your Gilga, and you can do some amazing combos with the Shamash, just to kind of throw them out there. If you attacked, and again, with your Anubis with this could allow you to hit the Despair kill, and if you get the kill and place Despair, well, we've just got some extra CC out of nowhere, and that's just through a joint attack system. His E2 does this as well, but this is a guarantee all attacks. So no matter what, everyone joins in the attack on E2 and absolutely obliterates the enemy. And again, in this case, any of these attacks are basic abilities, meaning Skadi's frozen arrows apply here. Again, Anubis as Despair applies here. Dracula's bleeds apply here. Odin's charm applies here. Any basic ability, any really good A1 all trigger through this. So again, He allows you to either kill a unit or lock him down or do whatever you need. He's honestly, I think, the king of supports, and he's so goddamn good. I hope he don't get nerfed. I really don't, but he is amazing. He's the #1 pick, I'm going to say, for anyone. And again, if you are looking, when anyone joins this hero in an attack, you gain an additional 100 divinity. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. He's a crazy hero. So if you've not guessed it, if you get Shamash, you're going to be happy. And that is why when you start to use him, you will understand. Isis was bugged. I'm going to be honest. She was bugged in the game, but I will tell you, she is the other kind of reviver that I was able to play with. So when you look at her ultimate, she revives a team or all allies, and then she gives them 50% HP and 50% turn meter. If a Horus is in the team, you actually put Radiance 2 on him for 2 turns. This isn't too bad because, again, if you're looking for a revive and you don't get our good friend Shamash here, is good. She's really good for that. She also, which is good for, actually applies a shield and defense up 2 on all allies. She's actually a pretty good actual generic support, if you want to say, where she fulfills only support duties and not trying to deal any crazy damage, but she's trying to keep you up and alive. But yeah, this is really good. She scales off for HP, as you can see, so nothing too bad there, easy to go up. And then when you go to her A1, you attack one enemy with a chance to steal a random buff, then spread that one random buff on this hero to all allies. This is actually really powerful because if you've got stuff like Mend, obviously attack up 2s, any sort of buffs, right, on her, being able to steal even their buffs and then spread it to everyone just makes you even stronger. So yeah, she is really good. I'm not gonna lie. If you've got Isis, some people might say she's a lot more crazier than I am making it out to be, but I'm gonna be honest, that's only because she was bugged, as people will say, during the Alpha Wave 1, so I'm not gonna say she's going to be absolutely nuts for Alpha Wave 2, but she does do really good in that support role. Another support, though, we're going to talk about, which does fantastic, as you'll notice, is Aphrodite. Anyone who has Aphrodite will tell you she's a game changer. She really is a game changer, and she doesn't even look like it on paper when you start to use her, because the thing is, she is a good bit of AoE damage on her ultimate. I'm just going to be honest, it's a little bit of good AoE damage. What's really good is it combos, though, with all of her kit. So as you can see here, as a mini spoiler, she extends the duration of any speed up 2 and initiative up 2 on allies. But she also increases the turn meter and divinity by 20%, meaning if you're almost there in a turn with other heroes closing down their ultimate, well, you can ultimate, do some damage, extend your buffs. You can now ultimate maybe with your Gilgamesh and your Ra and your Horus. Who knows? Who knows? Whatever team you're running, you can actually just start comboing off just because of this one hero. Then this is when things get really good with her, because her A2 targets an ally, if you guys have not guessed it from the spoiler warning, and gives them a speed up 2 and an initiative up 2, which then triggers her extra turn, which allows you to use your A1. And when you use your A1, any allies under speed up 2 and the initiative 2 will join this attack using their default ability. So again, if you're using stuff like Anubis, stuff like even our Sphinx here, or even Ra, any of these abilities that have an insanely powerful basic attack, that's coming in behind her. And that is terrifying when you think about it, right? So really good hero, absolutely game changing. I adore Aphrodite. And just to kind of put a little bit icing on the cake, compared to the other 2 heroes, which we haven't talked about, her leader bonus, 20% speed is so good, because if you're losing out on speed gear, don't worry about it. Put your best speed, what you can do, with whatever you've got, and if you put her first, 9 times out of 10, 4 or all 5 of your units are going to act first against your opponents. So that's what's really good about it too, especially in the caverns on the Alpha Wave 1 experience. Ra, I'm going to be real with you guys, I wasn't that impressed with. I don't know what it were. I don't know if it's because people were saying he is bugged himself, but he just didn't feel like he was doing that much damage. And I don't know if it's not because of his actual damage he's dealing, but more on the blaze mechanic. One thing I will tell you guys, I wasn't super impressed at the moment with Blaze. It just didn't feel that good. And it might just because we don't have the whole hero pools involved, so we can apply Blaze and trigger Blaze to then hit everyone more often and do more AoE damage in that aspect. That might be it. But for now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you get Ra, you might like him. He's pretty freaking cool. He's got some really cool animations, I'm going to be honest. But he didn't honestly make an impact for me. He really didn't. And even when I was testing him out on Fafnir as well, he wasn't doing any crazy damage compared to some of the other heroes that you're able to pick from in the game. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. So Ra, maybe if you want to go down Blaze comps and maybe in a different area of Godforge, Ra could be really good. But for the Alpha Wave 2, especially Wave 3 experience, at the moment, Ra just didn't feel like he is going to meet the mark, especially compared to even these 3 heroes that all are definitely a Wave 2 viable that people are definitely going to be looking out for in their competitions. Another one is Anubis. Anubis is insanely good in this game. He was honestly my early game carry. I know, sounds nuts. I was able to actually unlock Anubis around floor 60, and that was a game changer. Putting Anubis and like Aphrodite or Anubis with the Hound was super good in this game, especially later on when we got the Shamash and comboed it as well. In that aspect, he is fantastic. And the reason why he is fantastic is actually his A1. His A1, as I like to call it, is the despair lock. So what you're trying to do with Anubis is ensure his A1 hits, it hits hard, or his A1 hits and it hits multiple times before the enemy can. Because if you're able to kill any of them, if you kill the target, right, you have a 75% chance to place despair for 1 turn on all enemies. And if the enemy is defeated, you also steal 20% divinity from all enemies. This skill is crazy good. It is so powerful. It's not even funny. I can't put it even into words. Despair says you cannot receive positive buffs or effects while under despair. So no buffs can happen, right? The duration is reduced by 1 turn after each attempt to place an effect. Otherwise, you will skip the next turn if despair is active on the hero. So what this is telling you is if you have despair on, if you don't have despair on your unit, that unit needs to place a buff, a good buff, onto the targets to remove the despair. And if they don't, that target is gonna skip. But what you'll notice is this can hit all enemies. And the fact that you can hit someone, kill them, despair the other 3 is disgusting. Even if you despair 2 of them, the 3rd guy that you typically don't do isn't really going to be a buffer normally, especially in the cavern experience. So what he allows you to do, just with his A1 and with combo attacking with stuff like this A2 and A1 combo of Aphrodite, or comboing again with our Shamash with his A1 or A2, or even comboing again with the Hound if he works as intended, right? Which is really cool with his A1. You're going to have a hero here that is going to apply such great CC, you're not going to miss it. And I've not even mentioned yet his A2 or A3. That's just his A1. He's that good of a hero, of a crowd controller. Then, to sell Anubis a little bit more, you attack all enemies, you put an initiative 2 down buff on them, which means they don't get their ultimate as fast, which is really good. And then you also have Corrupt. And Corrupt, again, whenever someone is going to place a buff on them and that, this steals it. Like, this unit that placed this debuff steals any buffs received. Like, what the hell, man? So if you're despair locked down or corrupted, either way, it's going in our favor, right? It's going in our favor. I love this hero. Absolutely nuts. It's a 4-turn cooldown by default, but if you kill someone, it will go down to 3, which is great. So again, more uptime on this. Then just kind of finish icing on the cake, his ultimate attacks all enemies, maximum HP and attack. And if this hero's HP is below 50%, you heal this hero by 30% of the damage inflicted. And if this hero's HP is above 50%, you place a barrier for 30% on this damage. So either way, you're either healing up or you're going to do a damage, or you're getting a barrier. Like, what else do I need to say? He's a really good bruiser in your team. You'll realize as a HP attack tank guy, he's going to take damage, but he's actually going to deal a great amount of damage too, and he's going to lock you down. So honestly, Anubis, if I've not made it more clear, much better hero, especially compared to Ra, I think, in my opinion anyway. Horus is really good. I actually played Horus quite a lot. Horus is a fantastic legendary tank. Even if you don't run Isis, because Isis and Horus, when you look, do have little combos in between. So if Isis is on the team, she's healed the same amount. So whatever damage he does, he heals her. And then you can look again on certain things like this, where we're able to revive the team. And if Horus is on the team, we place a Radiance 2 buff on him. But we're not going to look at that, because honestly, even on his own, he's a fantastic hero. He's able to attack an enemy, put a blunt 2 and speed down 2 buff on him, which means they're not going to do any critical hit rate or critical damage by 20%. Really good little decrease there, because that means obviously if you're going against even certain bosses, if they get that crit, it's not going to feel as bad. The speed down 2 obviously is an obvious one. It means you get that turn meter in your favor, so that's kind of always what we want. But then his A1, really good bit of damage with a taunt onto them. He also heals himself, but his ultimate is what makes him really good as a tank. Honestly, it's a very simple one, but it's very powerful. You place a shield on all allies, but it's a 400% defense shield. And that is one of the biggest shields you'll notice out of many of the heroes in there. One hero that's kind of close is Brynhild, but she's doing a 250% defense, and she's epic. And she grants you Radiance 2 on hers as well. While if Isis is on the team, though, this is going to be 50% stronger. And it can't be removed either by acid or whatever you want to call it, any of those effects, right? It's just kind of there. So really powerful ability, has taunt built into, fantastic tank. If you get Horus, don't be mad. I'm going to be honest. You'll actually thank me for saying, you know what? I'm going to try this guy out, and he is a beast. He'll make your DPS survive. He'll make your support survive. He'll make your team survive, right? So really good hero. Sphinx is another good Egyptian hero. I'm going to be real. The Egyptians here, the Aru, are very good with these heroes here. Even though I'm not going to say Ra was that great, he might be like a tier, while these guys are maybe like S tier. All of them. Maybe if Sphinx could be S+, she's that good. She's another support in the game. And the thing with Sphinx, though, which is kind of crazy, out of any of the heroes you've seen so far, her A1 attacks all enemies. You have a guaranteed AoE in here. So again, for lower level cavern farming, she's fantastic. But even in the higher ones, she has a chance to put a blunt 2 and attack down 2 on enemies. So again, reducing whatever they think they were going to do, they ain't going to do it as effective anymore. What's even better, though, is the fact that you can put a resistance up 2 on this hero, place Vanish on all allies except for this hero, and then have a chance but an accuracy down 2 debuff on all enemies. This skill is surprisingly powerful when you go against it on the Sphinx, because you'll realize then she just isn't taking damage. Honestly, like, she just feels like she isn't taking damage, and you're not able to lock her down or do anything to her. And anyone you wanted to kill, like the Isis or the Horus or the Anubis or the Ra, whatever you wanted to kill, guess what? You're not able to target them anymore until this gets put down. So yeah, it is a bit of an annoyance skill. I think it's going to be really good in certain areas. I really enjoyed using Sphinx a lot for this. But when you go to an ultimate, this is what's really good too, because you kind of destroy HP and the divinity cost of each enemy. This is what's really good on her, because this is just making you do great damage, but this destroying of HP alone, stacking up to 10 times, means you're able, as you can imagine, to kill stuff a lot easier. Yes, if you're doing stuff that's like a max HP bleed, this is going to be worse for you, but you're not going to be using Sphinx in like bleed style teams, let's be honest. So yeah, really good hero. Honestly, really loved this hero, right? YDG. So I call him YDGs. It's YDG, yeah, YDG, right? So the dragon, the big dragon that you can unlock. So with this hero, I'm going to be honest, I feel like I didn't get the best out of him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I were building him incorrectly, but he just didn't feel like he was doing that much damage. I'm going to be honest, especially if you're trying to certain bosses as well, like the golden golem and stuff like that. You were trying just to see if you could do some big hits and that. He wasn't really doing that. His A1 attacks an enemy, and if they're under blaze, you place an attack up 2 on his hero. So he does some great damage because of that, as you would expect. And then his A2 again attacks all enemies twice. And then the first one has a chance to put blaze 2 on them. And then the second attack decreases each target's defense by 5%. You can actually stack that up, which is what's powerful about him. The powerful thing about him is actually the defense reduction that you can be putting onto the targets. But that's how it felt. It didn't feel like that to me, that YDG was this actual crazy fire-breathing dragon, especially with this, because again, you want to transfer all blaze from allies onto enemies, then attack all enemies, and then place shields on all allies, and this is increased for each thing that's been transferred. It's really good if you're able to do that type of gameplay, but you'll notice, like, again, it just feels like he isn't doing that. And because he isn't doing that, he relies on another blaze user in order to trigger those blazes on both a lot more consistently. And I think that's what was the problem. And maybe, again, I was building him wrong. Maybe I'm, taking this wrong. Someone might know the best YDG build and what you should be running, and I can try that out next time. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. Maybe, again, I'm just wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong on this one, right? Dracula, though, is the opposite. Dracula is everything that I wished YDG was kind of doing on his own. Because Dracula is a bleed style hero, but he actually works on his own. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I can attack one enemy 2 times, and each time places a stack of bleed. And also 5% of max HP when damaging an enemy under bleed as a debuff. So like, I think it's going to be healing or something, but yeah. Heal. There we go. So we also heal when we deal damage and bleed, which is good because it gives us a little bit of sustain in the kit. But what makes him really good is this A2 and A3 combo. So you place 1 stack of bleed on all allies, then you convert all debuffs on allies into additional stacks of bleed, which sounds very bad. Honestly, it sounds bad that you're able to basically say to your team, okay, I'm going to get rid of the attack down 2, the accuracy down 2s, the attack up 2s, any of our the down 2s, should I say, any of the debuffs that you've got. I'm going to delete them all, but instead you're going to have like 8 stacks of bleed. That's what you're going to be having. You're having 8 to 10 stacks of bleed on your hero. And it sounds nuts. It does sound nuts. But it has method to the madness, because once you place that reflect and mend for 2 turns on allies, which does give them, as you'll notice, the ability to actually survive through this, you get the payoff, which is what Dracula does. And you'll notice it's a common theme to what our good old YDG was doing, which was trying to transfer all these buffs and stuff, because Dracula attacks all enemies 4 times. But before he attacks, he consumes all stacks of bleed in battle. So that means all of your allies that's just had all of the debuffs turn into bleeds gets the bleeds removed, they go into the Dracula. Same with any of the bleeds onto the enemy, they get removed and put into Dracula. But each stack that has been consumed increases this by 4% damage. It is bonkers, honestly, when this works properly. And it's really good that there's this kind of big DPS payoff that I honestly did get to use, and he was one of my actual guys that got me like a nice little bit of damage on Fafnir during one of the runs in like not even 10 minutes of running it or so. So yeah, fantastic, honestly, hero. Not saying he's gonna be game breaking, I'm not saying he's OP at all. I actually just think his kit works out perfectly, and because of that, like Shamash, like maybe Isis, like Aphrodite or Horus or Anubis or Sphinx, Dracula is again a hero. If you pull him, you'll be happy with his performance. You're actually going to be happy with this hero compared to someone like YDG or Ra. It feels like that's how it feels like to me. Obviously, this is my feedback. Obviously, you guys watching the video, obviously listening to my opinion. Love to hear your opinion on it all as we go through, right? I'd love to hear your opinion. Now, Odin. So Odin was an interesting hero because he fell into two camps, and both camps are valid because I feel both of them. He was either really good in the right teams, and those teams are ones with confuse. So we're talking about teams that can use Loki, that can use again Odin and Mordred together. These three heroes were really clever together in the right scenarios, because what he does is places charms onto the target and gains an extra turn if that target gets killed from his skill, which is pretty cool. Charm, as you'll read, takes the next attack for the enemy that placed this debuff, and the reduced damage is 0. I don't know what it is, but if you basically attack someone and place charm, it forces them to attack you, but you take no damage from that. Like, you just take no damage from charmed units, right? So I don't know if that's a bug, but it's really cool. I actually really like that. With his A2 though, he has a chance to attack all enemy 3 times. So he has 3 instances of a 25% chance of placing confuse, and that is the power of Odin. This bit of crowd control was kind of nuts, and it is trying to make you build accuracy and all of this jazz to make sure this lands. Because if you do get it to land, this is what makes the team very powerful, because you can again take advantage of the confuse with the Mordred imprint and do a ton of damage. So again, would honestly recommend Odin. He's actually a pretty good hero. Honestly, I love to use him again through certain things, especially if you're going to try and abuse his ultimate. I couldn't figure it out. I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't figure it out. But it does say attack all enemies and you increase their divinity by 30%. If an enemy's divinity is fully depleted by this attack, you get a 25% chance to execute them. You can't do it to the bosses, but you can execute waves. So if you run stuff like Scatty and the Hound and stuff like that can steal divinity or reduce the enemy's divinity down, if you can keep it below that 30% threshold and on all of the enemies, then you Ragnarok, you can kind of see where this is going, right? This does do some really crazy damage and can execute enemies for you, which does make it a wave clearing beast. But honestly, it's all about this A2. I'm going to be real. Odin, for me, felt like the A2 was enough for him, right? So if you unlock Odin, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't, be mad about it either. He's actually a pretty good hero. And I bet you if you find the correct actual item sets, because I was not running optimal gear at all when I ran this hero, you're going to be a lot more impressed. Loki, though, is one hero that might be the one that we're going to say out of all of them, felt like he just underperformed. I'm going to be honest, he really did. And even with the combo with Odin and Aphrodite, it just didn't feel like it was enough, because you can, what you want to do with Loki, as we show his kit, he basically taunts all of the enemies, and he places A for burn 2, which is pretty cool on them. But the thing is, what's really important is that you're taunting all enemies, and you need to, as you can see, place charm on them, because if you can charm the target and then taunt them, well, guess what? You're not taking that damage anymore, right? You're just not from that. So it's very powerful if you can get it to work, but the issue you'll notice is just like, he doesn't get it to work. Even if you can Aphrodite and use your A2 with your A1 and get that Loki to A1 attack and charm someone, and then go into your charm 2 again, or with Odin to charm again with his A1, so you can maybe try and get 2 charms off there. Then when you get this taunt off again, it just doesn't feel like it worked. Me, and again, I think Ragewood was talking about this, we were trying to theorycraft it, and I did try him out myself, and yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because there isn't the heroes to support Loki in the hero pool, or if it's just because his kit just feels like it's not meshing as well as some of the other heroes that we've discussed already in this video, right? We've only got 2 legendaries remaining anyway, so I want to say, if you've enjoyed the video so far and my opinions, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. I want to say thank you for all the guys that have been supporting this new channel. Obviously, all about Godforge content on here now, which is the MrSneakyy Plays one, if you've not noticed. But it's going to be Pangu and Zeus, and I've left these 2 at the end for a reason. Zeus felt like an absolute cheese, I'm gonna be honest, and I know he was bugged because his ultimate shouldn't have been giving everyone a joint attack and going absolutely crazy. It shouldn't have, right? But it wasn't even that what was crazy. It was his A1 and his A2. These 2 were just insane for Zeus, because there is times where you can get an extra turn into an extra turn into an extra turn into it was nuts when those went off. It felt nuts, right? And even when you got like 1, maybe 2 extra turns, it was game changing, because the thing is, the amount of damage this guy deals is obscene. Because if you kill one person with this, the chance from 25 to 75 is drastically different, and you'll notice it kind of chains into each other. And he was the cheese. If you got Zeus, and if you get Zeus in wave 2, I think everyone will confidently tell you you're on to a winner. He was probably the #1 or #2 hero in the game, right? Absolutely bonkers. He's on par with Heimdall, Zeus, and Shamash. They were like the top 3 heroes in this legendary category. It felt like in Alpha Wave 1, even though I didn't get to have a Heimdall myself, I was watching loads of footage of it with it being used, and it's nuts. Pangu is similar. Pangu is in this like weird spot where his damage is ridiculous, right? This skill here is ridiculous on the amount of damage this can do if you know how to play the hero. And this is what's really hard about it. And you know what? I'm not gonna knock Pangu down any notches for this, because he was, out of any of the other heroes we've seen, one of the more interesting ones on how you scale and how you actually take advantage of his damage, because it's all about having more initiative and speed than your enemies. And if you're able to balance these 2 stats and get them super high compared to your opponents, you was able to do some ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous damage. I think he is maybe difficult to understand or difficult to use and like gear for, but once you understand him and you get him, he's definitely up there. I actually think he's like a top 5 hero in this legendary alpha wave. I'll be real with you, I didn't use him for that reason, because when you fought a Pangu in even the enemy AIs, 9 times out of 10, he either nearly one-shot you or definitely put you to 50% of your HP every single time without failure. So definitely up there, top 5 heroes in the game. But that does technically reach the end of it all. That reaches the end of like my experience with all of the legendary heroes that we had in the game for our Alpha Wave 1 experience. And I do wish we could get Heimdall, I do wish we could get Hell and the others, and maybe Alpha Wave 2 and get to experience those guys. But that's where you can come in. You guys who might have had maybe more knowledge on YDG, or maybe used Loki and Dracula and more than I did, or even Odin, for example, Hell and Hercules as well. All of these other legendary heroes I haven't got. Check them out. Tell me in the comment section down below if you did really well with them. I'll just say with Hercules, I hate him. I hate him. I'm not going to go into it, but if you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. So that's going to be my opinion on the legendaries that I was able to use in the Godforge Alpha Wave 1. Take what you want to take from this video, so when it goes to Alpha Wave 2, you're a little bit more prepared with the skills and what is technically like a good hero, what was a bad hero in performance for our Alpha Wave 1 experience. And let's see if any of these guys improve or technically tank a little bit from nerfs that could happen. So if you enjoyed the video, smash like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.